perfectionism is subjective, because a lot of people don't care about perfection. A lot of people care about accessibility, ease of use, just, other attributes. So again, just as an example, I'm using a $1,000+ camera. I'm using $1,000+ microphones. A lot of you guys have complimented it, saying it looks high quality, sounds high quality. But at the end of the day, most people are just going to use a Blue Yeti. They're just going to use a webcam. And they can do everything that I'm doing. And a lot of times, a lot better. Because sometimes things need to be accessible, need to be easy, need to get the job done. And things don't have to be perfect. So, people can get caught up on trying to make things perfect. And what is technically perfect? A YouTube video that gets 500k views, or a YouTube video that gets a couple hundred views. You could have a flawless video that gets a couple hundred views. Best image and sound quality possible. Or you could have a video that's, using a webcam, using a Blue Yeti, but gets all the views because the artist, made the best use out of it. People talk about that all the time. They're like, a lot of times artists can do amazing things with really budget equipment, while a lot of people may buy a lot of extravagant equipment and just not make anything that appealing. So, at the end of the day, does perfection really matter when there's all of these other variables like comfort, ease of use? A lot of times some of the better performing stuff is out of people's price range, or it's just not worth the effort. And all it has to be is good enough. So there's a lot of people that really focus on everything has to be perfect. I personally don't really care that much, honestly. I could probably go back to using a lot of more budget equipment that's hissier, that sounds a little bit funkier, that's not that great. I could probably live with it. But do I enjoy using this stuff? Yeah. So again, also, the equipment that I use, there's plenty of people out there that think it's not the best. There's people out there that have their own opinions. They care about different things. Again, a lot of people, perfectionism is kind of like a subcategory. It's not like the main category. There's other attributes that matter. And sometimes it has to be, it's good enough. And then other things can take over to really hit it home. So things have to be accessible. You could make the best, most well thought out video with the best equipment. And at the end of the day, it could end up being boring and, all this stuff. And then somebody with a much simpler setup, just focusing on triggers, for example, in ASMR, instead of rambling about all this convoluted stuff. A lot of you guys have said that you would prefer that I use triggers more. Some of you guys like the way that I make videos. Some of you guys think, maybe triggers are played out. I don't know. And you just like listening to this. So there's all these different perspectives on things. So when you start talking about perfectionism, people have all these opinions. It's ridiculous. it's not worth it. It's like fighting over which flavor of pizza is best. I think Supreme Pizza is the best, but somebody may think spinach pizza is the best, and come up with all these reasons why spinach is better. See, look at these talking points of why spinach is better. There's literally people that do that. They think something is objectively the best. They come up with these talking points, and I just don't find it appealing, So, at the end of the day, that's what matters, what's appealing, what you want to consume and use, and, a lot of people just want accessibility. They don't care that much. Things are different. A lot of times, use what you enjoy using. It's just a tool. And a lot of people get a lot of amazing things done with things that these days I think are trash, that I would never use again, and then you can see people using that equipment and stuff for years and getting a lot of amazing stuff done with it. So again, I think perfectionism, quality, is, a subcategory of a bigger picture. And I kind of like the variety of opinions, and that's what makes things interesting. There's no point trying to make everybody the same, which is what perfection is trying to do. Make everything the same, the best. Just get the best, forget the rest. And a lot of times, again, quality, it's just one attribute among many others, and I've come to terms with that, I think, anyway. Does that mean that I love the stuff that I have and use, and I put a lot of effort into picking it out, and I think that's the best, honestly, to do, to stop caring what other people like sometimes, and to find what you're looking for, what makes you happy, but to consider what else is out there, because a lot of people have some good ideas and opinions and tastes, and that are more effective. So at the end of the day, what is true performance? What is true optimization? You gotta really think about that. There's so many attributes. If a Blue Yeti and a webcam can get 500,000 views, maybe it's not that bad after all. So when it comes to perfectionism and optimization, I realized a long time ago, I was overly zealous about it. I appreciate it, but I've always learned that every time I worked on something and I made it perfect, there's plenty of other things out there that people work on that wasn't perfect, quote, quote. Usually what I mean by perfect is perfectly aligned, perfectly, but people may find other things appealing to use, and it may not be perfect. So variety, and what do I think? What do I think is more important than perfectionism? I think there's one thing that's more important than perfectionism, and that's what people want to consume. what people want to use, what people enjoy. And some people confuse that with perfection. Like, I use this equipment because I think it's amazing. It's, and I can tell you why. But again, it's usually because of how perfect I think it is. But like, other people use things for different reasons. I don't know. The main thing is, whenever you're trying to find something that you really enjoy, it's up to you to separate yourself from the pack and to figure it out yourself. Or you can just copy everybody else and get a Blue Yeti and a webcam, for example, and do what everybody else is doing. Whatever is the most popular. It's gonna work. It's gonna get the job done. So sometimes when you try to deviate from the norm, from what is accessible, you end up being on an island, not nearly as effective as somebody that just stayed with the rest of the pack. So the main thing is, every time like I've tried to make things perfect or the best, in the big scheme of things, when it comes to other people's opinions and what they want and how the world actually works, that's it's just a subcategory. Perfection, optimization, it's just a subcategory. There's so many other attributes. Usually like talent and ability to give people what they actually want, which is typically entertainment and something very specific, that has nothing to do with focusing on perfectionism and optimization and flawlessness. And that's just like, some people care about that. Some people, to a overzealous, irrational, obsessive degree. And they don't focus on what actually matters. So you have to admit that a lot of people get a lot of work done with a lot of stuff that you don't like. It still works. And honestly, you may have bad taste. And not even know it. And sometimes people just work more effectively their own way, which is not your way. So variety and shooting off into all these different directions gives us a lot of different perspectives and stuff to enjoy. We get a lot of choices. And you can just find what appeals to you, because the world is a big shopping mall. And that's nice. And you get to experience everything that's out there and appreciate things, because there is so much out there. So you need to know like when to focus on what you like versus what other people like, and don't try to force it onto other people too much. That's what I